It's bigger than just a game.
Keep your eye on number 22. Martin looking. Here's Clark. She fires and goes!
These moments have a greater impact on the next generation. She wants to be strong like her, determined like her, confident like her, win like her. This is why we do it. We are on the rise, and it's only the beginning for her. It's time to support her. Together, Hawkeye Women Rise.
This is the Hawkeye Women Rise podcast, presented by the Iowa City Area Sports Commission.
My entire life had revolved around competitive sport. And so it was that experience that gave me the drive to try to change things.
Because we have nothing to lose and we have absolutely everything to gain.
Hawkeye Women Rise podcast highlights the past, present, and future of Iowa women's sports. We tell remarkable stories, highlight incredible accomplishments, both in competition and life. Feel inspired by the stories of adversity overcome and celebrate Iowa women's athletics. Together, Hawkeye Women Rise. Live from the Iowa Athletic Club in the Iowa River Landing, this is Hawkeye Women Rise, presented by the Iowa City Area Sports Commission. Here's the host of Hawkeye Women Rise, Iowa tennis coach Sasha Schmid.
Hello, welcome Hawk fans. Hello, this is the Hawkeye Women Rise podcast. We are thrilled to be with you again. Thank you to the Athletic Club Restaurant for hosting us in person. And a big thank you to the Iowa City Area Sports Commission for sponsoring this podcast and for all they do to support Iowa women's athletics, which is so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Iowa City Area Sports Commission. We appreciate all of you coming out to join us for lunch. This is a great turnout. I loved our first show with Coach Bluter. She's always so fun to talk to and just has so much energy. And I loved having some insights that she shared with us. We have a terrific show today. But first, I just wanted to talk to everybody. If you have not seen the documentary that was released by our athletic department about Iowa women's basketball, check it out. It is called Growing the Game. You can find it on HawkeyeSports.com, and it is a behind-the-scenes documentary that followed our women's basketball team through last season. It has been shown to great reviews. I've heard wonderful things about this, so check that out. And also, women's basketball started their opener, and congrats to them on having a great start to the season. There was so much good energy in Carver Hawkeye Arena last night. So I am very excited to start today, but before we get to our guest, I wanted just to say a few words about our Hawkeye Women Rise Capital campaign. Last week, Sloan Tyler, Senior Director of Development, joined us, and I was thrilled to have her give us a summary of the Capital campaign that we are all so excited about. Sloan will be back on December 5th at our next show to give us an update on the Capital campaign. If you missed her segment, go back and take a listen because she did such a great job giving us an overview of the Capital campaign. It's the culmination of a lot of hard work and exciting celebrations for 50 years of both Title IX and 50 years of Iowa women's athletics, all leading us to great momentum for the next 50 years. Hence, the mission of the Hawkeye Women Rise Capital campaign to continue to raise awareness and support for Iowa women's athletics. And I can tell you, as a coach myself, it means the world to head coaches here, our student athletes, and our entire athletic department. The goal of raising awareness and support is also the mission of this podcast, and that leads us to our first segment today, which we call Support Her. And this is a great segue because our guest today has built a program that has had tremendous success, and also it's been enhanced generously by private support. The Iowa soccer team has an incredible operations building that was built in 2021 and has been a terrific addition to their program. And I want to get to hearing all about that building and what it has meant to the team. But first, Hawkeye fans, congratulations are in order for our newest Big Ten championship team, women's soccer. Woo!
Thank you.
Welcome, Dave, DiIanni.
Thank you very much for having me. This was a special event
Dave, we're thrilled to have you here. And one thing that I love about Dave is he's an early riser. So sometimes he and I are up early and we can send each other text messages. And I sent you a text, I think yesterday morning, very early, and you told me you're not sleeping. And I'm like, that's the best type of not sleeping for a head coach. Tell us a little bit about how you're feeling.
Yeah, we're the 5 a.m. club. So right now it's a good non-sleeping pattern for me, and we're really proud of our team. It's been to coach in the Big Ten at the University of Iowa was for most of us is our dream, and it's we're able to just compete every day against the best student athletes, and we're very blessed. I'm very blessed. Our coaching staff's very blessed to be able to have a great group of 33 young female student athletes that are amazing to be around every day.
So this is your second Big Ten tournament title, and it is the second in program history. And a unique fact about the years when you win the title is you go in as the lowest seed ever to win the tournament. This must be the play.
Yeah, we were the lowest seed in 2020, and we were the lowest seed this past year. So there's something about it. If either that or we have to do better in the regular season. But for our Big Ten tournament, only 8 teams out of the 14 make it. So we were able to squeeze in there on the 8th seed. And for us, our women, we just ask them to compete to the highest level they can and do it together. And we coined kind of the phrase, be the toughest fighter in the alley. And compete and play with grit, because that's what Hawkeyes do.
That's wonderful. So 2 amazing Cinderella story runs, and really in your process to winning a title, you defeated number 5 in the nation and number 12 in the nation, and then beat Wisconsin in final on Sunday. You're now headed to the NCAA tournament with an awesome honor to be able to host a home field advantage for the first round of NCAA tournament this Friday night at 6 p.m. at the Iowa soccer field against Bucknell. Tell us a little bit about what you're looking for in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it started with us just trying to win enough games to get in the NCAA tournament, and then 3 wins over top 15 teams turned into playing for a title and playing for a trophy. And I think every time you win, you have a different belief and an investment. We call it where you're reinvesting. You have the opportunity to reinvest in your experience. And not everyone has that. So we are hosting Bucknell, first time ever in the program's history that we're hosting an NCAA game. And so we're excited to have a big crowd and have a good performance in front of them. And we're in the NCAA tournament for 3rd time in 5 years. And so it's we're very proud of how we've done. But we spoke a little bit about that this morning, that the great part about the NCAA tournament is everyone has no wins, no losses, and no ties. So everyone is equal. And no one's going to remember that we won a Big Ten tournament anymore. And we have to now prove ourselves in the national tournament, and that starts on Friday night.
I want to talk a little bit about Josie Durer. Tell me a little bit about Josie, and let's talk a little bit about her game-winning championship goal.
Yeah, Josie Durer is just from up the street, Solon, Iowa, and she is finishing her 7th year. So how do you get to a 7th year? Most people say, I didn't even know you had 7 years. But with COVID, the extra year that was given back, and then 2 medical red shirts, she was able to get that. She initially wasn't going to take her year, even though I was asking quite often to bring her back. It's just a great player, and she's having probably the most fun she's ever had in 7 years here, and a lot of her friends graduated, but very athletic competitor, led the state in steals in basketball in high school. So incredible awareness, and we're just really proud of how she's doing. And ultimately, this was probably the culmination of her career, stepping up and taking a penalty with what was on the line and coming through for her team.
Yeah, in some ways you think that you didn't create the goal, but really she did. She was smart enough to know to be able to get in there and create the penalty. And so you had 1 shot on goal.
We had 1 shot on goal. They had 2, but we had 1, and we made it count. Yeah, but she did create it. She got the foul called on her, and we kind of have a theory that if you want the PK, and there's a lot of pressure that comes with it, you step up, and she did right away, and like a 7th year should, or an upperclassman student athlete should, and she came through for us.
Incredible. Let's talk a little bit about Sam Carey also. She's a great leader in the department, and I know on your team.
Yeah,
defensive player.
Yeah, Sam Carey's. I don't know if you could call refer to somebody as a 5-tool student athlete, but she's written a book. She has a podcast. She's a biomedical major, and she'll be a pro. So she'll get drafted this year, and so she's come through a lot of tough times to be who she is, and biggest thing is just being comfortable with herself and being a leader amongst our team, and everybody who comes in contact with her loves her, and I'm just so very proud of her. And our announcer Dean Linke at the Final Four has interviewed her quite a few times on the national podcast, because she's such a good listen, and she's such a great story. She talks a lot about being bullied as a child and coming through that, and building self-esteem and confidence in her own skin. And so it's been a fantastic 5 years, and I'm very blessed to be able to have spent that time with her.
How did you help this squad continue to believe as they went in as the 8th seed and still believe that they could get past that very difficult first round, and they continue? I know you lean on Josie and lean on Samantha for that too, but talk a little bit about what you did and the conversations you had with that team to get them to play loose and believe.
Yeah, I'm just trying to stay out of the way and not screw it up. Honestly, we have great coaching staff, and it starts with that. And we all play a different role, and not only amongst the team, but also in small groups. We have our own players and groups that we communicate with and build a relationship with and mentor and just help to develop. But honestly, I think success breeds success, and I think we talk a lot about investing in the process, and if you get caught looking too far ahead, it's danger. It's dangerous. And so talk about getting better every day and investing in the process. And we've been talking a lot with this group about investing just a little bit more, being a bit more focused on the attention to detail all year. And it's caught us a couple times not doing that. But then when you do have success, it's the time to reinvest, and it's the time to ask for more. And this group of women have been incredibly coachable. They want to get better. They want to win. And not very many of our team I think we have 5 that were on the 2020 team. So not many of them know what winning looks like and what it takes. And so we just try to create that picture and continue to talk a lot about the details and the process, and reinvesting in that process.
And the dangerous for me to talk too much about soccer because I don't know that very much, but I do know that you were changing your strategy from opponent to opponent, and that you were changing your formations. You were. Yep. I think we might be interested to kind of hear about that and what went into the different adjustments you made as you played, especially to defeat number 5 Penn State.
Yeah, I think for us, I'm going to do whatever puts our women in best position to be successful, and they're pretty resilient. The way we coach them throughout the year, they have a pretty good understanding of their roles and responsibilities. And you think you have a scouting report, you think the scouting report is right, and then somebody comes out in a different formation, or they're attacking you differently, or personnel is different. So I'm pretty comfortable in that adjustment. And if I'm comfortable, they're going to be comfortable. And so we've made a couple different formation changes, I guess, offensively and defensively in the last couple of weeks. And so if I'm Bucknell, they don't really know what we're going to do because we've shown 3 or 4 different looks. But I think in the end of the day, soccer is a very fluid sport. And there are roles and responsibilities, and everyone has principles that we have to adhere from to win and lose. But in the end of the day, systems are just a bunch of players that are amongst that fluidity, and our kids have a pretty good investment and bought in on that.
What are you going to need against Bucknell?
The Bucknell, they're. Everyone's, it's a big Power 5 and they're a mid D1, but mid D1s who win are dangerous because they know how to win, no matter what the game is. And so we made sure our team understood that really quickly, and they feel very good about the matchup. And I made sure our team knew that too. And for us, we're always about us. We have to we have to get healthy. Number one, a couple of days to be able to do that. But our grit, our determination, we have to be grit. We have to be very, very difficult to break down defensively. So I think we're in a good place. We just have to be able to finish the job on Friday.
Let's talk a little bit about the incredible private support you've had to be able to increase the facility and the experience of our student athletes with your operation building at the soccer field. This was a facility that came into being in 2021, and I'd love to hear the story about this. And, we're so close to our hearts is consistently trying to increase the awareness of our capital campaign for women's athletics, and you're a program that has directly benefited from donor support.
Yeah, absolutely. For us, once we finished the 2020 season, the momentum was pretty high. We had a lead gift that came out that they wanted to build a building, and they wanted to put we call it a home, a place where our women have an opportunity to call home, to change, to invest in their process, to hosting visitors, visitor locker room, to rehab. All of that is in that building, and the lead donor wanted to get it done in 8 months, so we had to fast track that. And in 8 months, we then had somewhere between 30 and 40 other smaller gift donors that just wanted to support women's athletics. Quite honestly, there were very few soccer fans in that donor group. And it was about wanting to empower women. It was about developing in and to with women's athletics. And it just happened to be at that time soccer. And for us, it's been a godsend. I think everyone talks a lot about recruiting, and it's not. It's about having a space that's called your own. That is, we have great facilities, but we didn't have a place to change, and that was in the confines of our facility. And so many of our student athletes don't even use the library. I mean, everything's online now, so they do all their studying and extra homework in the building, and we try to help them with food and whatnot. So it's been functionality. It's been a godsend for our program.
And really a terrific illustration of how powerful being able to support our facilities and our upgrades and this capital campaign is, and directly impacts the lives of the student athletes. And there was a correlation between successful programs and being able to have the resources that they need to be able to be complete student athletes.
Yeah, I think you could look at our program, and that would be a great indicator of, 3 NCAA tournaments in the last 5 years, and 3 Big Ten tournaments in the last 5 years as well. So it's not the only reason why you can be successful, but it certainly helps.
You have a wonderful relationship with your sport administrator. Talk a little bit about Matt Henderson and what he means to you and how he supports your team.
Did you ask that question because he's in the room?
No.
No,
I didn't.
Matt Henderson has been fantastic for me. I've been here 10 years and had 4 different sport administrators, and I think ultimately this weekend was a great, last 2 weekends where we're on the road, and he and Beth were able to come to travel with us a little bit, and just having the presence amongst your student athletes, and they understand that you are important, and that you do matter, but also the other way around. You want them to get to know your team, your team, and the personalities and the women that you spend every day with. And so, I appreciate Matt quite a bit in terms of he's a lending ear, and he's open to having conversations, but he also understands I'm okay with him saying no, and so all you want is somebody to be supportive of your journey and your career, but ultimately your 30 student athletes.
That's awesome. I'm happy for all of you, and all of us here are so proud and thrilled for you and your team as you go now forward into the Play for a National Championship. It's very special.
Thank you.
Before I send you away, we have taken questions from our audience here. You ready for a few of them?
Sure.
Okay. All right. These are questions from anybody who's come out to join us today. So the first one is, what does it mean to you, a father of 2 daughters, empowering women on and off the soccer field?
I mean, my whole life has been coaching women, 21 years, 2 daughters married, and married. For me, it's about helping them feel comfortable in their own skin. Giving them the courage to take chances and take risks, being proud of themselves, investing in whatever they do to the best of their ability. And for me, those 30 women that I coach every day are role models for my daughters. And they're older now, but for the longest time, they were running around the field at 1 and 2 and 3 years old. And those were their sisters. Those were their role models. And, for me, I want them to understand that they can reach for the stars, and there will be some ups and downs, but I don't want them to settle for anything they do. And that's ultimately my goal.
How many Iowa kids are currently on your roster?
Quite a few. Rough number, probably a quarter for sure, if not a third, are from Iowa. So we have a couple from Des Moines. We have Solon. We have Sophia Bush from Linmar, was on the all freshman Big Ten team, has started every game or most of the games. We have Quad Cities, so I would say somewhere between 6 or 7.
Awesome. Okay, and the final question for today is, what did it feel like in the final moments of that Big Ten championship game as you were waiting for that clock to go down?
Well, I was told I wasn't very excited by our players, but I think ultimately I was exhausted. And Macy Anneking's like, Dave, you're not even happy. I'm like, oh, I'm happy. Ultimately, it's not about me. It's not about our coaching staff. We're certainly proud of the job we did, but it's about our student athletes and seeing the joy in their faces. And not everyone played, and they were unbelievable teammates to each other and celebrated with the same manner. One of our players flew out and was there for the final that didn't dress, and that was great to see her. So for me, it was just a proud dad moment, quite honestly. And I want them to be successful so badly that I don't want them to have to leave thinking they could have done more. And that's my job to help them in that process.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
There's a lot of tough moments in coaching, so make sure you enjoy the good moments. And Hawk fans, we got to get over to the soccer field on Friday night at 5 p.m. to support our exciting Iowa women's soccer team in the first historic ever NCAA first round here in Iowa City. So that'll be very, very exciting. Not only can you support her by joining our Hawkeye Women Rise campaign, but you can also support our Hawks always by attending our home events. Let me just give you a little quick rundown here. We have a very, very exciting and busy week ahead. Women's basketball will play Virginia Tech on Thursday night. We are number 3 going against number 8 in the nation in Charlotte, North Carolina, and that will be on ESPN2 at 7 p.m. Caitlin Clark is chasing the record books. She's on the brink of joining the Big Ten's top 10 list for most career double-doubles. She is also on chasing the record for Iowa's all-time scoring record. It's currently held by Megan Gustafson. I think she's closing in on that needs around 60 points or so to catch Megan. She's also chasing Sam Logic on the assist record, all-time assist record. And she is 1 triple-double away from joining Sabrina Ionescu as the only D1 player to record triple-double in 4 different seasons. Many, many reasons to follow Iowa women's basketball, and you can check them out on ESPN2 Thursday night. For volleyball, our wonderful senior, Bailey Artega, was named October's Iowa Female Athlete of the Month after reaching 2,000 career assists. She is 10th on the Hawkeye list for program history to achieve such a milestone. Our volleyball team will close out its 2023 season. We have 3 upcoming home matches right next door at Extreme Arena. November 10th, they'll take on Illinois. On the 12th, they'll play Northwestern. And on November 19th, they will play Nebraska, and that game is currently sold out. Swimming and diving is off to Nebraska on Friday afternoon. And we have another great shout out to another team entering the NCAA tournament. For the 6th straight appearance and the 28th overall appearance, our Iowa field hockey program is off to Northwestern to play Louisville in the first round of the NCAA tournament. They will play Friday at 2:30. Our Iowa field hockey team is currently ranked number 8 in the country. They have not fallen out of the top 10 in the country for the past 6 seasons. They were ranked number 1 for 5 weeks this fall. Dion Van Alsem was named Big Ten Freshman of the Year, and she is the 6th Big Ten freshman in the program history. Dion currently leads the nation in goals and points. The freshman star has 27 goals and 60 points. It is absolutely incredible. Congrats to Esme Gibson and Dion Van Alsem, who were also named first team All Big Ten. They are the 107th and 108th first team All Big Ten in the history. That program has so many accolades. You have to catch your breath as you go through the statistics for Iowa field hockey. Make sure you tune in and cheer on the Hawks as they play Louisville in the Sweet 16 Friday at 2:30 in the afternoon. All right, when we come back, we are going to be joined by another exciting head coach for the University of Iowa in the inaugural season for Iowa women's wrestling. We'll be right back at the Iowa Athletic Club with head coach Clarissa Chun. The Iowa City Area Sports Commission is responsible for our community being home to countless amateur sporting events and state tournaments. From state volleyball, wrestling, tennis, and much, much more, the Sports Commission generates significant annual economic impact while adding substantially to our quality of life. The Iowa City Area Sports Commission is a proud presenting sponsor of UI Women's Athletics. Learn more at wegotnext.org.
Hawkeye Women Rise is our campaign to support all women's athletic teams here at Iowa. We are building a practice facility for our gymnastics program and spirit squads, and an operations building for our field hockey team, and that's just the beginning. These projects and the goals and plans ahead will be made possible thanks to the generous support of our donors and friends. Selling out the home women's basketball schedule and our first trip to the national championship game are 2 accomplishments we are really proud of, and you are part of that. We plan to keep it going, and we do that thanks to your generous support. The women who wear the black and gold are capable of absolutely amazing things. Thank you for providing the resources and the support for them to passionately pursue their goals. Please visit HawkeyeWomenRise.org to learn more.
And welcome back to the Athletic Club and Hawkeye Women Rise podcast. I'm so happy to be joined by my colleague here, Clarissa Chun. Clarissa, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Sasha. Oh my gosh. They're doing that extra because they know how I feel out here.
We're doing that because we're so excited about the history that's going to be made, that was made last weekend and will be made this weekend. Last weekend was the first time Iowa women's wrestlers wore the black and gold singlets and took to the floor to be competing into a dual and then an open event. This has been 2 years in the making, and I have watched you work and recruit and build a program from scratch and a schedule and be coaching, and I am thrilled to see this come to be right now. And the spirit of the Hawkeyes is behind you as we get ready to welcome your team to Carver Hawkeye Arena this Sunday at 11 a.m. for the Trailblazer Duels. This is something our Hawkeye fans, you do not want to miss. This is historic, and we hope that we pack Carver Hawkeye Arena. I'm hearing that tickets are selling, and if you want to get to this meet on Sunday, they should call the ticket office immediately.
Yes. Yeah. If you have not watched women's wrestling, it's exciting. It's fun. These women are strong and they work hard. And I feel like you should be there November 12th.
You are currently number 8 in the nation. How does that happen? How do they know you're number 8? I don't understand.
I don't know. But we do have a young team, right? We have a lot of freshmen. We have a lot of redshirt freshmen. And freshmen can't get ranked,
Okay.
Because they didn't wrestle in a collegiate setting. They've wrestled an open tournament, but they're considered unattached. So they can't go in and rank our women, the women that were ranked were transfers from another college program.
So it'll take time for those rankings to catch up, because you wrestled number 7 East Stroudsburg last weekend, and that was 43-1, and the dual meet was over in 29 minutes.
Yeah, no, it was great. Our women like stepped up to that first coming out wearing the Tiger Hawk on their chest and Iowa on their back, and they're excited to compete. For most of them, they waited a whole year to compete for Iowa, and the opportunity for them to put on a show and show what they're capable of was so exciting to see. But even more so, those who didn't get to compete, the team within the team and behind the team, the energy they brought, to help propel each and every one of them on the mat, to bring, out the best in themselves. So I don't know.
You recorded 7 tech falls and 3 pins in a completely dominating performance. Brianna Gonzalez, Ella Schmidt, and Olivia White recorded falls.
When you say like tech falls, I start thinking like, I wonder what people think when they hear tech falls. Do they know what that is? Yeah. Okay. Because, a major decision in men's wrestling, everyone knows what that is, 15 points over. But for women's wrestling, a tech fall is scoring 10 points over their opponent. So
it's a completely dominating performance. Yes. And tech falls, it's, I can't imagine that it's that common, but you were being able to go into this meet, and the energy that your team had to be able to go out and the pride they felt. But they also, I know, feel a lot of responsibility to uphold, making you proud and making the University of Iowa proud too. But I think they handled all of that really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time we throw different things at them, they step up and they rise, to the occasion. And they are amazing student athletes.
If our listeners had not had the chance to listen, you and I had a Herky's Voice episode about 18 months ago where I heard your entire life history and the road that you took to the University of Iowa and a very successful wrestling collegiate career and professional or Olympic career, which has brought so much high level coaching to the mat for these young women. You started with 15 young women, and then your roster size has grown to 28. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about the weight classes and who you're looking at to be able to shine in those different weight classes as we get ready for Sunday.
Yeah, we have 10 weight classes that compete in a dual, or 10 weight classes. So really the goal was to get close to 30. 28 was a nice number as far as like depth in each weight, and like can't account for any injuries or illnesses and whatnot. But for our women, I think, I think who you'll see step out on the mat is the first recruit, Kylie Welker. She was not able to compete at the first duel at East Stroudsburg because she got called up by Team USA to go and represent for Team USA at the Pan Am Games in Santiago, Chile. So she'll be one to watch. We got some transfers that are seniors, Felicity Taylor, Marlon Dede. They're college national champions, transferred from McKendree for Felicity and then Augsburg for Marlon. And we have great young talent on our team. We have Sterling Diaz, who's a 2-time cadet world medalist, who her and Emily Gonzalez battle at the 101 weight class. I believe we have the 2 best 101 pounders in the country in our room training, every day. And then Ella Schmidt, she's Pan Am champ, a local girl from Bettendorf, so she'll be one to watch. We got I could go up the list. Her and Reese Lermandy both at 143. Reese has been on the U20 world team, and so has Bella. So got great experience on our team. And we also have a good handful of younger, like developing student athletes. Yeah.
And to start a program from scratch, it's been a formula of taking some transfers and being able to recruit incoming freshmen and be able to grow that roster. And like you've said, you've gotten up to 28, which is an incredible accomplishment. And those are 28 elite wrestlers. And our Hawkeye fans are accustomed to very high level men's wrestling here. And so they are going to be a very informed crowd and be very educated when they come to the meet on Sunday. We've got Lindenwood, Sacred Heart, and Presbyterian. As I understand, there's a special tie to those three teams joining you for the 4-team meet.
Yeah, all three of those teams are the Division I teams in women's wrestling space. There's only 4 Division I programs that have women's wrestling. Presbyterian out in South Carolina was the first program to start women's wrestling in the D1, and Sacred Hearts up in Connecticut, and Lindenwood in Missouri. So Presbyterian's 13th ranked, Lindenwood's 11th ranked, and Sacred Hearts is ranked 5th. So,
and talk a little bit about after Sunday what your schedule looks like and where you guys would be competing as the season goes on.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of open competition and some dual meet tournament type of on our schedules. So after this weekend, we go to Missouri Valley the following weekend. That's my beginnings where I went. They're the first ever collegiate program to start women's wrestling. NAIA school down in Marshall, Missouri, pop-in town of 30,000 population. So I always get excited to go down there and just kind of reminisce about like what it was like, just a few years ago when I graduated. But no, it's a good tournament. Missouri Valley College is one of the biggest, longest running like collegiate women's wrestling tournament there is in the country. And last year there was over 500 women competing over the course of 2 days. So great tournament. NAI schools, Division I, II, and III schools all show up, and it's open. So sometimes there'll be like senior age group as well.
And I wanted to talk to you about open events, because in the open events, it is likely that as our team progresses through the draw, they're going to end up hitting each other in the finals. And that happened when you were at the Open in Princeton last weekend. That happens to me in my sport sometimes too in the fall when you're in a tournament and you end up having teammates. It's not a unique situation for many programs. Talk a little bit about how you handle that and what that's like within your program when teammates face each other.
Oh, us coaches stay out of it. We ask them, or we tell them, like, if you match up, you get a buddy to be in your corner to tell you off. And yeah, that's the way we do it. And, at the end of the day, it's may the best person, win. And it's no different. We will work with both of them and, how to make adjustments, in the practice room and whatnot. And yeah, it's just all about the journey of that, right? It's not necessarily about the wins and losses in those moments. So.
I had a wonderful conversation with Gary on your coaching staff. This was a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking to me about a tradition that you have started as a team before every practice, when you kind of circle in everybody and put your hands in, and everybody says in unison, "For her." Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about how that came about and what that means and why you say that.
That actually came about early last year. Our team went and got to watch the Dr. Christine Grant documentary, and they were just really inspired by it, and they came up with it. The team came up with that for her, and it's a really good reminder of what we're doing and how we want to represent our program. And they do a really great job with that, as far as, just how they go about business on and off the mat. So it really is about recognizing, appreciating how we got here, whether it's the women or the men, the people that gave us this opportunity, the trailblazers, so to speak, the administration, the university, everything, right? People behind the scenes, it's for each other, for them, as they work hard together in the room to push each other forward, make each other better. They're there for each other. And then for the younger generation, how they want to represent themselves in the program as the younger generation look up to them.
You are also going to be moving into an exciting new facility next summer. Everybody can see the facility going up right outside of Carver Hawkeye Arena. Tell us a little bit about that facility and what that's going to mean to your program.
Oh, it's a big facility. Yeah, we're excited. I think maybe the biggest excitement would probably be the locker rooms. They'll have a good amount of space for locker rooms. Right now we're in visitor locker rooms, just temporary, but to be honest, we have a great space, great wrestling space. We love what we get to do every day, and Matt would be happy to stay where we're at, like appreciative of the new facility, but absolutely beautiful, like massive. I don't know how they're gonna keep up with that heating bill in there.
Well, it is really, really exciting, and I'm thrilled for you and thrilled to be able to watch your team compete. From the minute your team arrived on campus, and even while they were in their season for only being able to practice, they have been such supporters of every women's and men's sport here at the University of Iowa. They're attending all of our home events and cheering on their other fellow student athletes. They've got such great spirit. You can feel the gratitude that they have to be here and the pride they have to be Hawkeyes. And that definitely trickles down from your leadership and from your personality and all the joy that you've brought to the Iowa Hawkeyes, to Clarissa. So we can't wait to be able to see you compete on Sunday. So this will be at 11 a.m. at Carver Hawkeye Arena. It is called the Trailblazer Duels, and it is historic. I've already heard of people in town that have been talking about they want a ticket because they want to be a part of history. So you don't want to miss this. And you want to be able to say that you were at the first home Iowa women's wrestling meet this Sunday. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hang here tight. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, our audience here has a few questions for you. And I'll ask those, and then we'll kind of get you on your way. Thanks, everybody.
The Hawkeye Women Rise campaign was launched to fundraise resources for all 14 of our women's sports, generating resources that will allow us to continue to build on the storied success we have here at Iowa. Hawkeye Women Rise will focus on facilities, endowments, scholarships, and other identified needs for our women's programs. Two critical priorities include a state-of-the-art practice facility that will serve our gymnastics, cheer, and dance teams, as well as an operations facility for our nationally competitive field hockey program that will keep us on par with the best programs in the country. Iowa Athletics has been at the forefront of supporting women in sports for 50 years. With your investment in Hawkeye Women Rise, there is no limit to what our female student athletes can accomplish. Please visit HawkeyeWomenRise.org to learn more.
All right, we are back at the Iowa Athletic Club, and we are going to take some questions from our audience. These are some great questions. Clarissa, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I guess.
If you could have a walk-up song, what would it be?
Walk up, walk out song? Oh, man. I don't know. Probably something that not a lot of people would know. I did listen to Revolution a lot. Heart Like a Lion was one. That was my not walkout song, but that was something that I listened to before I walked up to the mat. So
okay, tell me again, what is it?
Heart Like a Lion.
Heart Like a Lion. I'm gonna have to Spotify that. All right. Okay, here we go. You were fortunate enough to wrestle at Carver Hawkeye Arena during your career, and now your women get to compete there. What does this mean to you?
Oh man, it's hopefully Carver is a beast. I just remember that when I wrestled. I just I think it's exciting because the energy of the fans being able to, it's I don't know, just that feeling of being in a arena like Carver is like no other. Gets me nervous, to be honest. When I reflect back and competing in Carver, I've had great moments in Carver, but half the time I couldn't even tell you what I remembered of those moments. I just remember the end. So
you were in the zone. Well, as our Hawkeye fans get ready to come watch on Sunday, this is a great question. What are the rule differences between men and women's wrestling?
Women's wrestling, there's two 3-minute periods rather than 3 2-minute periods. So that's one. Another big one is if you step out of bounds, you give up a point, or if you push someone out of bounds, it's called a step out, so you get a point. So whereas men's wrestling, they kind of can toe that line and get out of bounds and not give up any points. The scoring's different. Takedowns are 2 still, but it ranges 2 to 4 points for takedowns. If you go feet to back, that's considered dangerous, so that's 4 points for a takedown. And the turns are different. We can lock our hands on, we call it parterre, on the mat, on the grounded positions. So the turns look a lot different in women's wrestling. There's no real points for escapes in women's wrestling, but there is 1 point if you reverse them on the mat position. Trying to think if there's always a lot more. So
yeah, that's a good summary.
Yeah.
We have somebody asking us, what is the most you've ever bench pressed?
I stunk at bench press. Okay. So my goal was always to get to, the 45 plates on the side. I don't think I've ever reached it. So not really strong in the bench press position, but I do have short legs. So I kind of took pride in like squatting more than benching. So.
And our final question is, what did it take for you to get here, starting a program and finally getting to the point where you are competing and in a dominating fashion?
It took just taking things one day at a time. Because there was so much, and I most of the times wasn't sure where to go and how far to go. Just really went slow and one day at a time. And there's moments where I felt like I had to go fast, and then I don't know. I just, as you opened up earlier, it's kind of wild to think, to look back at recruiting, building the team, from the coaching staff to the student athletes to the schedule. Like, I'm like, how? I don't even know how.
Ordering uniforms.
Yeah.
I've been seeing you do it all. Figure out how to take a program one step at a time.
Yeah.
And the learning curve was huge.
Yeah. And learn from a lot from people who've helped along the way. Definitely the university of the athletic department, everyone there has been so helpful since day one, being able to help answer any questions I had or help get recruits in on my second day of starting. That seemed not legal.
You had started on day 2 and already had official visits.
Yeah.
And you also didn't have a staff for a while.
Yeah.
And you've built it one step at a time, one day at a time. And you've been thoughtful about the decisions that you've made, and you've done it all with great integrity. And you've brought in the best wrestlers, not only that are great on the mat, but also great people and student athletes with great integrity. And it's a program we can all be really proud of.
Thanks, Sasha.
Yeah, I'm really excited for you, Clarissa. I've seen how hard you've worked. So Hawkeye fans, be sure to get out there on Sunday and watch these young women go out and compete. It'll be a meet full of lots of wonderful moments and definitely some goosebumps. Clarissa, congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. This is the Hawkeye Women Rise podcast, and we're so happy you joined us today. Come back. We will be back here again on December 5th, and we're looking forward to having another great head coach visit and Josh Schamberger's 50th birthday. Go Hawks.
This has been the Hawkeye Women Rise podcast, presented by the Iowa City Area Sports Commission. Hawkeye fans, remember to hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Once you become a Fight for Iowa podcast subscriber, you'll automatically receive the latest episodes of the Fight for Iowa podcast, the Hawkeye Women Rise podcast, Hawk Talk replays, exclusive game content, and more. Until next time, on Iowa, and go Hawks! The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.